Initiating moisture.
What's up everybody, it's Critical. Just saw Ghost in the Shell and wanted to give it a review and slap this bad boy on the moist meter. So grab a towel, cause we're about to get wet up in this bitch. Now let me start off by saying I am quite familiar with the Ghost in the Shell series. I've seen the original movie, however I don't want to compare this new one to the original one. I want to review this movie as if it's the very first Ghost in the Shell anything, brand fucking new name, no one knows what it means, for all people know it's about a haunted gas station. I just feel like a lot of people will write off movies when it's compared to the original source material. Oh, if you loved the original, you'll love this. And a lot of people will be left wondering, well, if I'm not familiar with the original, am I going to like it? Is it worth seeing? So don't worry, I'm here to get a boner and answer questions, and I've already gotten a boner. Let's go ahead and start with my favorite thing about this movie, which is the visuals. The entire city just looks fucking amazing. Everything in the movie is amazing. There's a lot of CGI, but a lot of practical effects, and practical effects just make movies fantastic in my opinion. It just raises the visuals to a level you can't achieve with just CGI, and Ghost in the Shell really blends them both beautifully. The characters looked cool as shit, especially the enhanced characters in this movie. They looked like the fucking feral offspring of a man and a Terminator at some points. There was a gang member in a club scene that had this weird iron jaw. He looked like Jimmy from Ed, Edd n Eddy if Jimmy was really badass. I really can't gush enough about how spectacular everything looked, the environments, the characters, just all of it so incredibly pretty. Now let's talk about the performances from the actors. Overall, everyone did a solid job. Scarlett Johannson, I thought, did a great job with the Major. Two really standout performances from Bato and Aramaki. They both fucking killed it. They brought their characters to life and just fucking stole the show every time they were on. So shout outs to them. If you're watching this, just know I really liked what you did in this movie. And if you want to come on the internet's best podcast, the official podcast, please just reach out to me on Twitter. Now, I should also let it be known that I'd never really harshly judge acting in a movie. I don't pay too much attention to it, except for Asa, Butter, Butt Cheeks, and Miss Peregrine's Home for Imaginary Dweebs. That was just the worst acting I'd ever seen, and it really stood out to me. So take my acting criticism with a grain of salt on this one, because maybe you won't find the characters did a great job, but I think most people will agree Bato and Aramaki just nailed it. Now on to my only real complaint about this movie, the plot. Now I'm not saying the plot was bad or anything, it was a decent plot, but it was very predictable and it wasn't exactly original. Now that's not a fair complaint that I have here, because I know the original Ghost in the Shell inspired a lot of modern sci-fi plots that we're used to, like The Matrix for example, and they wanted to stay true to the original, so they didn't have a whole lot of wiggle room here, but they did put their own little unique spin on it with the Major's history and where she comes from, which I thought was a nice touch. But the plot never really captures your attention. You don't really feel too bad when a character dies in the movie or some big thing is revealed, because you kind of already saw it coming. The villain is by far the blandest character in the movie, just your standard cookie cutter evil bro dude. Also, the parts in the movie that are supposed to elicit an emotional response or maybe even be thought-provoking really fall flat. You don't really care too much. And the plot twist, you can't really call it a plot twist, that's not really the wrong word, I don't think it's supposed to be a twist, but you don't really care. You know what's coming, you know what's going to happen. It's not anything that's going to make you tug on the shoulder of the person next to you. Oh, can you believe that shit just happened? Oh man, it just cleaned my asshole, I can't believe it. So a lot of the things that were in there that I think were meant to make the viewer take a step back and be like, damn, what is it to be human? What does it mean? Just doesn't really come across that way. But like I'm saying, none of this is me saying the plot is bad, just that it's predictable and it's not a great plot. But the action scenes, the visuals, and the characters really do make up for it, except for the villain, because the villain's just kind of shit. I really didn't like the villain. Another great thing about this movie was the soundtrack, and just the sound in general. Everything just sounded fucking cool, especially the soundtrack. That's something that really stood out to me, and will probably stand out to most people. They nailed it there. Overall, I feel like the movie was definitely worth seeing. Even if you haven't seen the original, I think most people will find that it was enjoyable for them to watch. It's nothing that you're going to remember 5 to 10 years from now and reflect on, but it's definitely a good movie to just go entertain yourself for 2 hours or so. It's just a fun movie to watch. I'm going to go ahead and put this movie at about a 70% on the moist meter. It's definitely got some moisture in there, quite a lot of moisture, but it's not dripping wet or anything, but you will definitely enjoy your time with the movie. So yeah, that's it. Stay moist or dry hard.